It was a night unlike any other. The kind of night where the forest feels alive in ways you unexplained, the kind of night that changes everything. I had been hiking deep in the wilderness, chasing an urge I couldn't quite name. The air was thick with mist, and the moon cast eerie shadows between the towering pines. Everything around me was silent, except for the crunch of my boots on dry leaves. But then, out of nowhere, I heard a soft, desperate cry. Not the usual sounds of the forest, not the hoot of an owl or the rustling of squirrels, but a fragile, childlike sob. At first, I thought it was a lost child. My heart pounded as I scanned the darkness. The cries were coming from deeper in the woods, somewhere far off the trail. I followed, each step slower than the last, trying to quiet my breathing and listen more closely. The further I went, the more the forest seemed to close in around me, swallowing the moonlight. The air grew colder, the silence heavier. Then, through the fog and the brush, I saw it. A small, trembling figure crouched beneath a thick fern, barely visible in the moonlight. It was covered in dark fur, thick and wild, like nothing I had ever seen before. Its eyes were wide and wet, filled with fear and confusion. The cries had stopped, but the shaking had not. I was frozen in place, disbelief battling with the raw need to help. Could this really be what I thought it was? A baby Bigfoot? The legendary cryptid stories whispered around campfires suddenly felt real. I reached out my hand slowly, wanting to offer comfort without frightening it more. It hesitated. Then, as if sensing my intention, it inched closer. The connection was instant. A fragile trust formed between two lost souls in the middle of the vast, unknowable forest. Suddenly a loud rustle echoed nearby. My heart leaped into my throat. Something large was moving just beyond the trees. I turned, eyes searching the shadows, muscles tense for flight or fight. But nothing came into view. Just a sound, heavy footsteps, deliberate, watching. I looked back to the baby. It was clutching a leaf, trembling but somehow defiant. I realized then that I was not just witnessing a moment. I was part of a story far bigger than myself. The night stretched on. I cradled the baby close, trying to warm it, whispering soft reassurances. The forest whispered back, an ancient language of wind and leaves, full of secrets I couldn't understand. Hours passed, and just as exhaustion began to take hold, I saw movement from the shadows. A massive figure stepped forward, tall, broad, covered in the same thick fur. Its eyes glowed softly in the moonlight, watching us with an intensity that both terrified and comforted me. This was the parent, the guardian. Not a monster, but a protector. The baby nestled into its parent's side, and the tension in the forest seemed to ease. In that moment, I understood the truth behind the legends. These creatures are family, bound by love and loyalty, just like us. I stayed with them until the first light of dawn, feeling a sense of peace I had never known. When I finally left, the forest was quiet once again, but I carried with me the memory of that night, a story of fear, hope, and unexpected kindness. If you ever hear a cry in the forest, maybe listen closely. You might just find a story waiting to be told.